Thank you, God bless you, and God bless the United States of America. Semper Fi. Barack Obama. Speech on ending the war in Iraq responsibly. Delivered October 21, 2011, White House, Washington, D. C. Good afternoon, everybody. As a candidate for president, I pledge to bring the war in Iraq to a responsible end. For the sake of our national security and to strengthen American leadership around the world. After taking office, I announced a new strategy that would end our combat mission in Iraq and remove all of our troops by the end of 2011. As Commander-in-Chief, ensuring the success of this strategy. Has been one of my highest national security priorities. Last year, I announced the end to our combat mission in Iraq. And to date, we've removed more than 100,000 troops. Iraqis have taken full responsibility for their country's security. A few hours ago I spoke with Iraqi Prime Minister Maliki. I reaffirmed that the United States keeps its commitments. He spoke of the determination of the Iraqi people to forge their own future. We are in full agreement about how to move forward. So today, I can report that, as promised, the rest of our troops in Iraq will come home by the end of the year. After nearly 9 years, America's war in Iraq will be over. Over the next 2 months, our troops in Iraq, tens of thousands of them will pack up their gear and board convoys for the journey home. The last American soldiers will cross the border out of Iraq with their heads held high. Proud of their success, and knowing that the American people stand united in our support for our troops. That is how America's military efforts in Iraq will end. But even as we mark this important milestone, we're also moving into a new phase in the relationship between the United States and Iraq. As of January 1st, and in keeping with our strategic framework agreement with Iraq, it will be a normal relationship between sovereign nations, an equal partnership based on mutual interests and mutual respect. In today's conversation, Prime Minister Maliki and I agreed that a meeting of the higher Coordinating Committee of the Strategic Framework Agreement will convene in the coming weeks. And I invited the Prime Minister to come to the White House in December. As we plan for all the important work that we have to do together. This will be a strong and enduring partnership. With our diplomats and civilian advisors in the lead. We'll help Iraqis strengthen institutions that are just, representative and accountable. We'll build new ties of trade and of commerce, culture, and education. That unleash the potential of the Iraqi people. We'll partner with an Iraq that contributes to regional security and peace. Just as we insist that other nations respect Iraq's sovereignty. As I told Prime Minister Maliki, we will continue discussions on how we might help Iraq train and equip its forces again. Just as we offer training and assistance to countries around the world. After all, there will be some difficult days ahead for Iraq. And the United States will continue to have an interest in an Iraq that is stable, secure, and self-reliant. Just as Iraqis have persevered through war. I'm confident that they can build a future worthy of their history as a cradle of civilization. Here at home, the coming months will be another season of homecomings. Across America, our servicemen and women will be reunited with their families. Today, I can say that our troops in Iraq will definitely be home for the holidays. This December will be a time to reflect on all that we've been through in this war. I'll join the American people in paying tribute to the more than 1 million Americans who have served in Iraq. We'll honor our many wounded warriors and the nearly 4,500 American patriots and their Iraqi and coalition partners who gave their lives to this effort. And finally, I would note that the end of war in Iraq reflects a larger transition. The tide of war is receding. The drawdown in Iraq allowed us to refocus our fight against Al-Qaeda and achieve major victories against its leadership, including Osama bin Laden. Now, even as we remove our last troops from Iraq, we're beginning to bring our troops home from Afghanistan. Where we've begun a transition to Afghan security and leadership. When I took office, roughly 180,000 troops were deployed in both these wars. And by the end of this year that number will be cut in half, and make no mistake, it will continue to go down. Meanwhile, yesterday marked the definitive end of the Gaddafi regime in Libya. And there, too, our military played a critical role in shaping a situation. On the ground in which the Libyan people can build their own future. Today, NATO is working to bring this successful mission to a close. So to sum up, the United States is moving forward from a position of strength. The long war in Iraq will come to an end by the end of this year. The transition in Afghanistan is moving forward, and our troops are finally coming home. As they do, fewer deployments and more time training will help keep our military the very best in the world. And as we welcome home our newest veterans, we'll never stop working to give them and their families the care, the benefits and the opportunities that they have earned. This includes enlisting our veterans in the greatest challenge that we now face as a nation, creating opportunity and jobs in this country. Because after a decade of war, the nation that we need to build and the nation that we will build is our own. An America that sees its economic strength restored just as we've restored our leadership around the globe. Thank you very much. Barack Obama. Address toasting Iraq War veterans. Delivered February 29, 2012. Thank you, Joe Biden, for not only outstanding remarks, but the extraordinary leadership you showed in helping to guide our policies. To Secretary Panetta, General Dempsey, to all the commanders who are here and did so much. Under such extraordinary circumstances to arrive at an outcome in which the Iraqi people have an opportunity to chart their own destiny, thank you for the great work that you've done. I do have to say, despite Dini's advice, I thought Dempsey was going to burst into song. Laughter. You have not lived until you hear him belt out an Irish ballad. His voice is better than mine. I think you're never a prophet in your own land, Marty, so your wives are there to cut you down a peg. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, this house has stood for more than 2 centuries. Through war and peace, through hardship and through prosperity. These rooms have hosted presidents and prime ministers and kings and queens. But in the history of this house, there's never been a night quite like this. Because this evening, we welcome, not the statesmen who decide great questions of war and peace. But citizens, men and women from every corner of our country, from every rank of our military. Every branch of our service, who answer the call, who go to war, who defend the peace. And in a culture that celebrates fame and fortune, yours are not necessarily household names. There's something more, the patriots who serve in our name. And after nearly 9 years of war in Iraq, tonight is an opportunity for us to express our gratitude and to say once more, welcome home. This is not the first time that we paid tribute to those who served courageously in Iraq. This will not be the last. And history reminds us of our obligations as a nation at moments like this. This year will mark the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War, a time when our veterans didn't always receive the respect and the thanks that they so richly deserved, and that's a mistake that we must never repeat. The good news is, already, we've seen Americans come together in small towns and big cities all across the country to honor your service in Iraq. And tonight, on behalf of Michelle and myself, on behalf of over 300 Americans, 300 million Americans, we want to express those simple words that we can never say enough, and that's thank you. In your heart, each of you carries your own story. The pride of a job well done, the pain of losing a friend, a comrade. Ernie Pyle, who celebrated our GIs in World War II, said that your world can never be known to the rest of us. Tonight what we can do is convey what you've meant to the rest of us. Because through the dust and the din and the fog of war, the glory of your service always shone through. In your noble example, we see the virtues and the values that sustain America, that keep this country great. You taught us about duty. Blessed to live in the land of the free, you could have opted for an easier path. But you know that freedom is not free. And so you volunteered, and you stepped forward, and you raised your hand, and you took an oath to protect and defend. To serve a cause greater than yourself, knowing, in a time of war, you could be sent into harm's way.